Greetings, I'm John Bickers, itinerant constitutional law professor, and I'd like to talk with you today about questions 3 and 4. So we'll start with 3, and I think you should always start by looking first at the call of the question, which you see here is, what would be the appropriate burden of proof? Some calls of the question, as we'll see when we get to 4, are really helpful at flagging for you what kind of law you're looking at. This one doesn't do that. And remember, for the MBE, you have a mix of topics. So what would be the appropriate burden of proof could signal you that you have a constitutional law question, but it could also signal that you have a torts question or something entirely different. So not to stress, but that's our focus as we begin to look at the stem. So go back up to the stem where we're told that the state has a retirement system under which a fixed percentage of an employee's pay is deducted each payday. Okay, I'm not sure. I know labor law is not on the MBE, but not sure where I'm going yet. Retirement benefits are paid at age 65 for the life of the employee. Okay, state got reliable actuarial statistics. Those who completely abstain from alcohol have a greater life expectancy than those who use alcohol. Those who abstain, therefore, receive smaller monthly retirement benefits than those who use alcohol. I'm really confused at this point, but I'm going to keep pushing through because I can do this, and I'm still thinking about somebody having the appropriate burden of proof, so there's going to be a challenge here. Aha! Now I get to the last sentence of the stem. A man who has never had a drop of alcohol in his life challenges the lower benefit standard applicable to persons in his class on constitutional grounds. Whew. I was thinking this probably was going to be a constitutional question just from this someone getting a different benefit because of something. But then the question writers are kind enough to let me know in the last 2 words, yes, this is con law. Okay, good. Now I'm thinking about the appropriate burden of proof. Okay, so he's going to challenge this as a state characterization. So when the state is characterizing or classifying people and saying one group gets X and another group gets Y, I remember that has to do with the Equal Protection Clause, because the Equal Protection Clause can't say that everyone must be treated equally all the time. It says the state can't violate certain rules. And I remember that the scrutiny the state is held to depend on what kind of a classification it is. If it's a classification based on race or religion or national origin, then I'm going to apply strict scrutiny. If it's about sex, if it's a men versus women question, then it's going to get intermediate scrutiny, and pretty much everything else gets rational basis scrutiny. The classification here is those who drink alcohol and those who don't drink alcohol. Oh, that's got to be rational basis then. Now I'm thinking back, wait a minute, the call of the question was about burden of proof. Oh, I remember. If it's a strict scrutiny or an intermediate scrutiny, part of what those higher levels of scrutiny mean is that the state has the responsibility to prove that they're not doing something wrong. But if it's rational basis, then the person who's challenging the state has the responsibility of proving that the state is doing something wrong. So now I know what I'm looking for when I get down into the options. I'm going to be looking for an option that tells me that it's the teetotaler who's challenging the classification who has the burden of proof. So I look down at my answers, and C and D are both requiring the state to do something. So those are wrong. So I already know I can rule those 2 out. Now I just have to decide between A and B. A says the man is required to show the benefit is not rationally related to a legitimate state purpose. That sounds like rational basis as I recall it. And no, that sound you just heard did not mean that, like the Oscars, I was being played off. I'm still being allowed to talk, so you have to stay with me for another moment, because B says it's not necessary to achieve a compelling state interest. Oh, okay, necessary and compelling, that goes with strict scrutiny. That's about race. This is about alcohol. That's wrong. So A is clearly the right answer. And I circle that, and I fill in the bubble, and I move on with confidence, because I got this one.